Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yetunde, aka YBA. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you all about my first impressions about Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. And if you're new here, you should definitely stick around, okay? It's going to be very interesting. And if you're not new, I mean, like, if you're like an OG, you're like my regular customer, you're always here, coming to watch my video. Mwah. Love you, stick around. This is going to be very interesting. I'm a Nigerian who just recently moved to Cote d'Ivoire, and I currently live in Abidjan. Before I moved to Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, I used to live in Lagos, Nigeria, and this is a very, very recent move. I'm very excited. I'm sure you can tell. I'm excited because guess what? I think I finally found friends. If you watched my video where I tried to tell you about why we moved, moving here, a bunch of people told me, oh yes, it sounded so melancholy, you miss home, because I think I kept on repeating, I really miss home, I really miss home, I really miss home. Yeah, I do miss home. And I think a huge part of that is because, I just felt a bit uprooted from my, normal environment, and I'd not fully settled. And a big part of me not being fully settled was the fact that I honestly had zero social life, like zero, no friends around. I finally decided, to go out there and make friends. And I joined this group for a while now, and they posted up an invite for expatriates in Abidjan who are English speaking from an Anglophone country to have like a nice drink after work meetup kind of thing. So I went for that stuff. I'm so glad I went because I met a bunch of amazing people. Now, one of the things that kept on coming up, every time, I was talking to someone in that group was, what was your first impression about Abidjan? What did you think when you got here? And I'm like, an idea for a video. Let us make a video. Let me tell everyone, on here what my first impressions were. So that's why I'm making this video. What was my first impression of Abidjan, when I got here? Now, just to give you a bit of a background, we moved here in July. I came here for the first time in April. So I was here in April through May before I went back to Nigeria, and then I now came back fully in July. So this first impression is just going to cover both my experience when I came here for the very, very, very first time and the second time when I moved here fully. So what was my first impression? Like, first things first was the language. I mean, I did my research. The country is called Cote d'Ivoire, which means Ivory Coast. It's a francophone country and all of that. But I feel like, in my mind, I kind of thought that, there should still be somebody that speaks English, right? Well, wrong. When we got here, immediately at the airport, we had some luggage issues, and I simply could not find anyone who could help us translate. It was really difficult finding someone. And even when we finally found someone who said they spoke English, I think they only spoke maybe like very little English, so it was really difficult to communicate. Now, don't get me wrong, it really was an experience and it was an adventure. And yes, when your movies are over, you're supposed to do your homework. But my first impression was like, oh my God, French. Hey, Yesne only knows bonjour, comment ça va? Like, they taught us in school. How is she gonna cope? So, my first impression was like, oh, it might be a bit difficult, navigating things here because of the language. But now, months later, it can be a challenge, but it's a challenge that you can overcome. I feel like we Anglophones, we are so disconnected from our Francophone brothers and sisters. We expect that English will be spoken. There's no way there will not be. I mean, it's not like they don't speak English here, but it's very rare. Like, most people don't, and that's just the bottom line. So the first impression I had was Abidjan was the former capital of the country before it was moved to Yamoussoukro. I felt like, okay, this place was going to be exactly like Lagos. I mean, just like Lagos. And in a lot of ways, it does remind you of Lagos. But one of the first things when we got to the airport was the airport was smaller than our airport in Lagos. I was expecting something big and nice like that. I do have to say though, even though the airport was smaller, everything was working. It was less chaotic, pretty easy to move through customs and just get yourself stamped and come out. There wasn't too much because it was smaller in size. Also, it was easy to move from point A to point B. You just really literally come down from the aircraft and you're driven straight to the doorway. You get in there, get your bags, once you have your bags, like you're looking at the door right here, then it's not a lot of walking. So the airport was kind of smaller. I was like, okay. Now, the very first thing I feel like hits you once you come out of the airport is the greenery. Abidjan is so green and I love it. I love the fact that everywhere, like you can't, there's hardly anywhere in this city that I've been to that you will not see trees or you will not see flowers or something planted somewhere. So Abidjan is so green. I love it. Like on my street here, which is very quiet and it's residential, I found an avocado tree. I've seen mango tree, like, you know, that whole, when we were growing up, like every compound had like, you know, a fruit tree or that fruit tree. There is greenery in Abidjan. Even like just from the airport, once you come out, it's green. So I love that. Another first impression I had about Abidjan when I got here was the fact that it was really clean. I come from Lagos. Lagos can be dirty. I used to, you know, say a joke, you know, back then when I go home back to Kwara State to see my mom, my family, when I'm coming back, see, there's a place, once you hit like that Ibafor, that's Lagos has like a way Lagos even smells. You just smell Lagos. You smell Lagos before you enter Lagos. And I know Lagos State is shy when it comes to like Loma and all of that stuff, but oh my God, again, there's a lot of us in Lagos. Well, a lot of people live in Lagos. The population is not the same. But one of the things that will strike you is how clean Abidjan is. If you go out early in the morning, they also have these people who sweep the highways, the roads and everything. People are not fond of just trashing things on the roads here. When I went to the market for the first time, the first market I went to is Grand Marché, Trècheville. And when I went to Trècheville, it was like really clean. Like compared to the markets from where I come from, I'm like, oh wow. Also when I went to the beach, it was really clean. And people, you could see that people were actually taking care and, you know, picking up after themselves. So I really loved that. It was like a good first impression. I'm like, oh wow, I like it here. These are my kind of people. I mean, who doesn't want to live in a clean environment? Oh, another thing, immediately you come out of the airport, you get into your car or your vehicle, whatever, you realize how slow moving it is. And I've been told by other expatriates that I met when in my friend group that it's a common thing in all the Francophone countries. Like if you go to Senegal, Cameroon, Togo, compared to the Anglophone countries where everything is like fast. I mean, if you go to Ghana, you'll be like, Ghana is a bit slower than Nigeria. See, compared to Ghana or maybe Lagos, like if you go to Accra or Lagos, this place is like slower. The driver that picked us up, I just noticed that he wasn't moving very fast and there was absolutely no traffic. And you know, my husband, who speaks a little bit of French, asked him, oh, why are you not moving fast enough? And he was like, he just pointed, they have speed limits here and people respect speed limits. Yes, there are odd ones, like there are people that are odd, especially at night. There are a lot of power bikes, at least in my own area, and you just hear them vroom, 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 moving fast. But generally, things are slower. Even the lifestyle, just, you know, the demeanor, people here just take life easy. I get the feeling that, you know, Francophone countries have like a good work-life balance. I don't know how to explain it. People are not rushing. You know, Lagos, you can feel the bzzz in the air. Like everybody is buzzing. You're running to go somewhere. You're running to rush out of somewhere. You're running to beat traffic. Yeah, like Lagos are always rushing. Here, slower, and immediately you get into town, you will feel it. It's like, you know, it just washes over you. When I came here in April for the first time, I treated it like a vacation. So in my mind, I'm like, this is vacation, you know, let me rest my head before I go back to crazy Lagos. So yeah. Another first impression I got from here was immediately we left the airport and we got into like town, I could not count the amount of restaurants and cafes we were driving past. There's so many bakeries, there's so many cafes, there's so many cuisines here in Abidjan. I have not even tried half of them and I cannot wait to go restaurant hopping. But you will be struck, like if you just move this street, you see restaurant, like everywhere, even in the residential areas. Once you come out like of the street, you can find a restaurant in every corner here. There's food everywhere. And for a number one card carrying foodie member like me, That is like a good thing. I was like, oh my God. Oh wow. In Lagos, we have really nice restaurants. If you're a foodie in Lagos, Lagos is the place to be. But there's certain districts you get in Lagos where you're not going to see a restaurant. Like, you're not just going to see a restaurant in every corner. Some places are just central business districts. See, here, everywhere there's food. Even if you go to Plateau, which is like the central business district, there is a restaurant tucked in one corner everywhere. I cannot forget to mention that the roads are also very good here. They're bad roads, but what I've realized is they're always fixing roads here. Like when you're just driving around, they're fixing something, and they don't take too long to fix them. There was a major highway that they were fixing when we got here in July, and like some days ago, I drove past that place and they've opened it up already. It's already fixed. So, they're good roads, good road network, at least for the most part. I've been to one or two places where the road wasn't that good. For the most part, like generally, especially if you come here just to visit, between your hotel and everywhere, you might not even experience any bad road. Like, and there really aren't like a lot of potholes on the highways. Hardly, maybe a few bumps here and there. My 10-year-old noticed. So yeah, the roads are really great here. Let me talk about the people. I'm not gonna lie, when I first got to Abidjan, I'm like, Ivorians are not friendly. And I think it was just because of the language barrier. I told you, when we got to the airport, it was it was a bit funny for us. We got there, our luggage had opened at the airport in Lagos, so they used cling film to wrap it up. The bag had like just fallen apart. It was one new bag we bought from one vendor, and anyways, and then the customs people, after scanning our bags, wanted us to open up the bag. Now, this is a bag that the zip has already fallen apart. The only thing holding it together is the cling film, but you want me to take it apart. It was really difficult, trying to explain to them. We used Google Translate. Eventually, when we found the guy that spoke a bit of English, then he was able to help us. There was a bit of unfriendliness. And over time, I kind of had that mentality. But in staying here about 3 months, I've come to realize that I think that, you see, we Anglophone people, and I was able to also confirm this from my friends that I made in the Anglophone group. Anglophone people are kind of like more, should I say, in your face than the French people. French people are kind of, I told you, they're mellow. The Francophone countries, they're not very, Nigerianish or Ghanaians. We were a lot. You're always, talking, gesticulating, arguing. I mean, if you go to the market, sometimes if it's the animated discussions in French, Ivorians are very chilled. Again, they don't like just run in your face. Nigerians, we don't used to mind our business. If a Nigerian just see you, you're just looking at us like, excuse me, can I help you? Like we go out of our way to talk to you. No, Ivorians are not wired like that. They let people like here mind their business, and so it can come off, if you're new here, as if maybe they're unfriendly. But honestly, everyone who has helped us settle down, between maybe I'm looking for a store to buy something, everyone has been super helpful. So Ivorians are not unfriendly. If you're coming from an Anglophone country where you are very preppy and a lot, it can be a bit like, why are they not very, no, they are just not like us. Also, if you think about it, the same way you have difficulty understanding someone who is speaking French, who's a French speaker and doesn't speak a lick of English, is the same way they too have a problem with you. They can speak French and they don't understand what you're saying. That communication can make it be like, they don't want to help me. It's not that. They just don't understand what you're saying. So just as an advice, which is something I tried, but I think maybe I didn't do it for long. If you're going to come here either to visit or just to, live here for a few months, or you're coming for work or whatever, you should definitely try to learn basic French. I remember when I came the first time, I just started learning French on Duolingo, the app, and I had not really made much progress. And I was just learning it whenever I felt like I didn't dedicate time to it. So when we got here, it was really difficult. Anytime I meet someone who doesn't understand me, I have a planned speech and I memorized it. I say my name, this is where I'm from, this is the language I speak, concept, empo, petit, small, I'll just tell them. And once you do that, they can find you someone who wants to understand you, or they know how to kind of slow the French down. Like now, if you slow it down, I can for the most part, understand a few things. I would also just like to point out that because this is a francophone country, a lot of times when you Google Cote d'Ivoire or Abidjan, sometimes you might not find the exact resources you need, like everything you need. Shout out to people like Tracy of Lago Kenya, Brown & Strong. All these people are YouTubers. They are expatriates who live here in Abidjan. They were like the first two people that I found who were speaking English and they lived here. And I sat down on Tracy's channel and practically watched all the videos on her channel, just trying to figure out how my life was going to be here. So shout out to these two YouTubers. I think I know Tracy now. We've not met, but we talk, you know, on phone. She gave me her phone number, but I have not spoken to Brown & Strong, but she has definitely helped me. She helped me find one very cool supermarket that I went to the other day, and it was really good for me and my family. So that is my first impression about Abidjan. Have you been to Abidjan before? What was your first impression? If you have also relocated to a new country and a new location, what was your first impression about where you went to? You know, what was the impression you had but got corrected over time? For me, it was the fact that I thought Ivorians were not friendly, but later I got to find out that no, it's not that they're not friendly. They're not just yeah like us Nigerians, or should I say Anglophones in general. So I will be making more videos about Abidjan. I actually have a video coming up about my culture shocks, like things that shocked me, and I didn't expect it to be like that, and I'm just going to make that video just, you know, just to share what my experiences are like here, you know, for me and my family. So don't forget to like my video, don't forget to share it, don't forget to leave me a fun comment. You know, I love comments. And you know, if you are very private, you want to ask me something, come to my DM on Instagram. It's at YBRMO everywhere on any social platform. And until I come back to you here on YouTube, stay blessed and take good care of yourself. All right, bye.